Hello everybody, my name is Queer Crocodile. I am a semi-well-known VGC player in the unofficial online Limitless tournament community, as well as certain draft leagues. And today I'm here to bring you the Gumi Draft League Season 2 auction draft, or GDL A Season 2 as I call it. Um and I'm going to be going over the different teams where I put them on a tier list of how I would like to use them and also explain what a draft league is. First of all, what is a draft league, and specifically the auction draft league, for those who don't know, is a format of playing competitive Pokemon where you draft 10 Pokemon. Usually everyone would take turns taking certain Pokemon. Sometime in a snake format, it's the most common form. It's going everyone every Pokemon has a set price to it. Everyone goes from 1 to 10, and then back up 10 to 1. So everyone picks at the same speed, and you're limited by your budget. However, in an auction, no Pokemon has a fixed price. Every Pokemon costs as much as you're willing to bid on it. And how this and instead of going 1 to 10, 10 to 1 in selecting, we go 1 to 10 on nominations, and anybody can pick up any Pokemon at any speed. Like, people build their teams at any speed, so if you're good enough, if you do enough auctioning early on, you could build your team before anybody else does. Like, before anybody else gets 5. So no one builds at the same speed, and you're only limited on spending by your budget. Starting off with my tier list on how much I would personally, me, Queer Crocodile, would like to use the team. Starting off in Bias Hell, we have my team, Whimsicott. I'm not going to go too much into detail on it, but because you'll get to see more in my videos breaking down my sets. But we got Whimsicott, Farigiraf, Dragonite, Urshifu, Single Strike, Typhlosion, Zoroark, Porygon 2, Quaquaval, Berserker. Farigiraf and Berserker don't really count, though, as they don't come into either games in the first 2 weeks, and are just kind of dead weight for a while. Unfortunate to call them that. But we got Whimsicott. It gets Tailwind and a deep, good supporting move pool, as well as is best friends with Typhlosion, who does big fire damage. Dragonite and Urshifu make up my physical backbone. Dragonite gets a deeper move pool, but doesn't really hit as hard as Urshifu can, and Urshifu hits like a truck, but doesn't really have the deep enough move pool to keep up with Dragonite. Zoroark has 3 main sets it can run: immediate damage with a choice item or life orb, set up with Nasty Plot, or Focus Sash support. Porygon 2 was actually an accidental pickup because I didn't want it. I wanted to price gouge it. I wasn't expecting it to go for 9, and I was expecting it to go for 10, and I've actually fallen in love with it because it's really good. It can, with download and its move pool, it can be a surprise physical attacker, or typically a good, strong, consistent special attacker. With Eviolite and Recover, it's just bulky as all hell and won't die, and then it can set up Trick Room, which is nice and kind of does it better than Farigiraf. Then Quaquaval is halfway a mascot pick. It is here because Uncle Ice, a really cool person, decided they wanted to sit out of the second season after participating in the first season, so a new person could take their spot. And because of that, I took Quaquaval to keep their spirit on, and I refuse to drop Quaquaval in the second auction. Quaquaval and Uncle Ice must stay spiritually in my team forever. Now, getting into the actual tier list, we have, starting off, Nep and their team of Pelipper, Pincurchin, Meowstic Female, Weezing Galar, Iron Valiant, Sinistcha, Barraskewda, Dondozo, and Tatsugiri. I think this is just a really weird team. Pelipper, it's a really weird 2-2-2 Dozo team with Pelipper, Barraskewda, Pincurchin, Iron Valiant, Dozo, and Geary as the main 2-2-2 mode. But then there's some anti-synergy with Weezing conflicting with Pincurchin and Barraskewda and Pelipper, as well as Pelipper and Barraskewda being 2 water types, along with Dozo Tatsugiri, your main core. Meowstic's just kind of mess, and it's just pretty good, but a little harder to use on this team specifically. So ultimately, Nep, like, this is just how I feel about it, disregarding my hate for Dozo and the fact that Nep continuously chooses to spite draft Dozo, specifically to spite draft it because I hate Dozo so much. Um, Disregarding all that, I still put it at the bottom of the tier list. It's just not at all my playstyle. Very all over the place and a bit anti-synergistic, but still, I think it's good enough. Then next up, we have Potato and the overlap of the most overlapping team ever. A team of Chiyu, Clefairy, Walking Wake, Hatterini, Ogerpon, Teal Mask, Ninetales, Garchomp, Talonflame, and Grimmsnarl. Fun fact about this team: 8 of the 9 Pokemon overlap in typing. Chi-Yu overlaps in both its fire type, along with Ninetales and Talonflame, as well as its dark type with Grimmsnarl. And then Grimmsnarl I've already explained, it overlaps dark typing with Chi-Yu, and it also overlaps its fairy typing with Hatterini and Clefairy. Walking Wake and Garchomp both share the dragon typing. The only Pokemon who doesn't overlap types is Ogerpon Teal Mask, although it does overlap with being like the follow me support mon with Clefairy. So it's just very all over the place, and like in order to properly or it's very much overlapping in types. And then when it comes to like actually using the mons, Chi and Walking Wake would love to be under Ninetales' sun, but in order to do that, you're foregoing like speed control or bulkiness with screens. And ultimately, I don't think you can really bring Clefairy and Ogerpon to that many, if any, weeks together. So ultimately, that gets it in the second to worst slot. Then we got Happy. This team of Urshifu Water, Entei, and DD Female, Klefki, Brute Bonnet, Sandy Shocks, Garganackle, Mimikyu, and Ninetales Alola. It's just missing Crown. Without Crown, Sandy Shocks becomes your one version of special damage, and it's just not getting there, especially. Like, Entei and Urshifu would be good mons for Iron Crown to be with on a team. Brute Bonnet's also nice because it pairs with Indeedee for Follow Me. And then, but then, like, you don't have it, and you have Sandy Shocks as your premier special attacker, which isn't that good. And then Garganackle, who just isn't set up on this team or the team I'm recommending to Salt Cure stall. So I think you're just an Iron Crown away from being A to S tier, and without it, you fall to like lower B tier. And then Piper is the team that is the coach that rounds out the B tier team of Iron Hands, Qianpao, Murkrow, Hisuian Arcanine, Dragapult, Zapdos, Heatran, Toedsquirrel, and Gouging Fire. Now you've got a lot of established cores. We saw Dragapult, Qianpao, and Heatran get second at Worlds 2023. Um, we know Qianpao likes an extreme speed mon. We know Qianpao likes Qianpao gouging fireworks. You've got Tailwind. You've got some special attackers. However, there are a couple things weighing it down. First of all, any fairy type attacker with a Terra with like a ground type or a Terra Ground Terra Blast hits 6 of the 9 Pokemon. It hits for super effective damage. It hits 4 Mons because of the fairy typing in Iron Hands, Qianpao, Murkrow, and Dragapult. And then your 2 fairy resistances, Hisuian Arcanine and Heatran, are both quad weak to ground. It's not it's not that's not good. That's not a good thing to have. As well as like Iron Hands is just way too slow for this team. You'd love for even in Murkrow's Tailwind, Iron Hands probably gets outsped by things like my Typhlosion Isui without a choice scarf. Like just regular Choice Specs Typhlosion probably outspeeds the majority of Iron Hands, even when they're in Tailwind. But then but it's still a good team, just a little bit weighing it down. Then we get into the A tier with Lazy Blade and their super balanced team of Incineroar, Rillaboom, Dusclops, Annihilate, Sylveon, Iron Bundle, Regidrago, Rhyperior, and Maushold. Incin and Rilla, the Fake Out brothers, along with Maushold, really lend themselves to supporting Annihilate or Sylveon as they set up. Dusclops and Iron Bundle are good speed control. One is less good and the other is super fast. Then Regidrago lends itself to immediate special damage. Annihilate can even run like a Choice Scarf into immediate physical damage. And then Rhyperior and Dusclops, I just don't think they fit that well. ultimately, without that, like, ultimately, it's also a balanced team, so I just don't really like using balance. And without Dusclops and Rhyperior in a more like offensive backbone, because not a lot of this team is consistent. Not a lot of this team does consistent immediate damage. Without that, I just think it goes into bottom of A tier. Then the team I'm hoping does the second best behind my team and my team only is Kala and the Royal Rabambis, because I am helping them with their plans. They drafted a team of Hitmontop, Altaria, Ursaluna, Cresselia, Primarina, Cornerstone, and Amorous Therian, Glamora, and Gothitelle. Cressluna is a good is a good duo we've already seen before. Hitmontop is basically uh, budget Incineroar with some special support moves. Altaria gives you weather control as well as a tailwind mode if you need it. Primarina is a setup special attacker with either Throat Spray or Calm Mind. Ogerpon Cornerstone is your fast follow meme on. It's good outside of Trick Room. With its sturdy, it's great at redirecting, and it's just good rock type moves. Enamorous is Ursaluna's best friend, as Ursaluna can Earthquake freely in front of Enamorous, and the types that resist Enamorous's fairy moves are all weak to Ursaluna's Earthquake or other ground moves, as well as they both being immune to Spore. Just makes them a nasty Trick Room duo, although it is a bit harder to set up Trick Room and get them next to each other. Then Glamora, honestly, probably the biggest flaw on the team. Sure, you can run like a Mortal Spin set or something if you really wanted to, but ultimately it's just going to be like a faster out of Trick Room special attacker, which does overlap the rock typing, but it's still not bad. It's just not the best thing you could have. And then Gothitelle pairs nice with Altaria and Primarina's Parasongs. It gets Fake Out, Trick Room, and Shadow Tag. What more do you want from it? Then, the third place team, rounding out A tier, we have Chompies. Their core of Ogerpon, Wellspring, Goldango, and Ursaluna Bloodmoon, most of the time, single-handedly carries it to S tier. I mean, Wellspring has, between the three, you have physical damage, you have special damage, you have setup, you have immediate damage, you have support, you have a fast mon, you have, like, faster mons, you have slower mons if you need Trick Room, ultimately lending itself to want Fake Out, Trick Room, and Tailwind, and with the choice of Indeedee Male, you basically eliminate two of those. Smeargle and Sneasler's Fake Out aren't that effective with Indeedee in play, as well as Indeedee Male being kind of bad at setting up Trick Room. Then Roaring Moon and Illumise both hit the Tailwind box, and so I just think it would be better to not have one and instead, use the other's slot for something different. And then Arcanine, it's just kind of fine. Ultimately, I think they fumbled the bag a little bit, and so it goes barely out of S tier. Then, number 2 team, and the consensus number 1 team, according to everyone else, at least after the draft concluded, Grumple. They have a team of Fluttermane, Torkoal, Ogerpon, Hearthflame, Landorus, Therian, Bronzong, Weavile, Lilligant, Hisui, Thundurus, and Iron Boulder. Now, this team does have a mistake. Like, there is a genuine mistake that even the coach, Grumple, would admit to. Iron Boulder. They regretted it as soon as they took it. But, hey, it's still a great team. It's still a great 8. Ogerpon, Hearthflame, and Fluttermane are both fast attackers of both the physical and special side that like to take advantage of Torkoal's Sun. Bronzong and Lilligant both help Torkoal take advantage of either Lilligant's fast speed stat and after you, or Bronzong's Trick Room to set up Torkoal's eruptions. Then Thundurus, Bronzong, and Landorus make some nice earthquake. Like, Bronzong and Thundurus help Landorus with its earthquakes, and Thundurus can do good disruption to help the team. But ultimately, I think and Weavile also gives Fake Out, which is nice. But ultimately, I think there was one team that was a bit better than that, and all the others. My week 1 opponent, J Muppet, consisting of Archaludon, Amoonguss, Raging Bolt, Landorus Incarnate, Tornadus Incarnate, Politoed, Scrafty, Slowking, Galar, and Azumarill. Archaludon, Amoonguss, and Landorus are all standard Archaludon rain pieces. Tornadus and Politoed both kind of end up being like the rain-setting Mons, except Landorus has Tailwind, Politoed has a couple other supporting options, Tornadus does damage, and Politoed has Drizzle. And together they're fine. Scrafty is just Intimidate Fake Out, Slowking is kind of just Trick Room, and Azumarill is Belly Drum Aqua Jet. Raging Bolt, it's Raging Bolt. It's not bad. It's just a little bit obtuse on this team specifically and hard to, kind of bring. But if your biggest flaw is, hey, Raging Bolt's kind of obtuse, you've got an incredibly strong team. It's not even bad. It's just a little bit awkward to use. And this is my week one opponent. I put my week one opponent at the very top of the rankings. I've already played the set. I won't tell you how it went. All I'll say is that Azumarill, when I was team building, Azumarill frightened me. Maybe it got brought and destroyed me. Maybe I prepped too hard against it and it did nothing. Maybe it didn't even come. Who knows? I do and all the other coaches do, but you don't need to know that. You don't need to know the information that we know, because I will be making 2 videos a week on this draft league. One video going over my specific set with each opponent I have every week, as well as the team I brought and why I made the decisions I did for the team building, and going turn by turn, just figuring out exactly why I did what I did in the sets, as well as another video going over just how the standings change from week to week as we go through this draft league. But thank you so much for watching me ramble in my closet. This is my 9th time recording this, so sorry if my thoughts seem a little streamlined. I just am so tired of trying to make this video. But let me know in the comments what you think. If you think any of my rankings were good or bad. If you think if you think one coach is going to do so much better or so much worse than I rank them, just type them down below. Also, let me know if there's any non this draft league things you want me to cover, maybe a set that other people have played in. Just let me know anything you want to see. But I've been Queer Crocodile. I hope you have a great rest of your morning, day, evening, or night whenever you're watching this. Have a great rest of it. Goodbye.